James Matthew Masters. That's you, sir?
Yes, sir.
File number here is 26-7SM. He pled guilty to a charge of domestic assault. I looked at this earlier this week. I did get the police report and get a chance to look at it. As of now, Mr. Masters, you have 36 days credit. And you had a circuit court case. What's the status of your case in circuit court?
I believe I got time served on that.
All right, so that matter is done. All right, Mr. Gibson, what would you like me to know regarding this?
Well, the defendant, according to my calculations, has 31 days in jail credit. I think that this was a situation where there was an argument and both parties were involved and it led to an act of domestic violence, but I don't believe that the defendant is a danger to society. I believe that he can be rehabilitated. So I would ask the court to sentence the defendant to credit for time served. And if there's additional sanctions, I would ask the court to consider either community service or probation, although the defendant is currently homeless, although he indicated he may be able to reside with family in the county. But if he did have to go on probation, the probation center may be a good option. He is struggling. He was struggling, I believe, at the time with issues involving controlled substances. Thank you.
All right, Ms. Camfield, what would you like me to know?
Thank you, Your Honor. I disagree that the defendant's not a danger to society. He's had other domestic violence charges. He's had drug convictions. This is something he also pled guilty to, which involved violence. There were injuries upon the victim that were indicated in the police report that she had visible redness between her neck and shoulder where she'd indicated he had tried to bite her, and that she also had a very large bruise on the back of one arm and a cut on the back of her left ear from having been assaulted the night prior to this event happening. So it does seem that he has a tendency to do that, whether or not he was intoxicated or under the influence of something at the time, I'm not certain. But he does absolutely have a drug history as far as his convictions are concerned. To note, the court indicated he does have jail credit. Just looking to see if he's had his probation in 2021 was revoked. It's been a few years. I suppose we could try another probation with credit for time served and hold some deferred jail over his head to see if we can get a handle on whether there's a controlled substance issue as well and get him into a process to rehabilitate that as well as domestic violence courses. It doesn't look like he's had those classes before, particularly if he got credit time served in circuit court for the 2024 case that also involved domestic violence. He was not rehabilitated then with any process for the domestic violence. So perhaps a credit jail served, a term of probation with a substance abuse assessment, and an order to complete any treatment recommended, as well as a domestic violence course.
The case that was circuit court is 241956 was our number. It was bound over to circuit court, but there's another case, 232419, which is a different case. But the earlier case involving biting too, and he bit her ear. She's not here. She's as homeless as he was. Methamphetamine does underlie everything. You got 36 clean days. You look clear-eyed and clear-headed, but
I need to be.
You weren't then. But You also got multiple unpaid fines and costs from earlier things. You got revoked in circuit court. Not a lot of positives here. What would you like me to know, Mr. Masters?
I guess me being in jail for 36 days made me think about things that I've done wrongly, and I need to refix those things.
When's the last time you had a job?
I don't even remember, honestly.
Well, one of the reasons you don't have any money is because you don't have a job.
Right.
You also got picked up on that other case when you got picked up with this, and apparently they resolved that. But I don't hold a lot of hope for a probation here. I don't want you to freeze to death. But yeah, the people saw it, and she says that this happens all the time. And I know that you've been accused of biting her before. I'm going to order 60 days jail, credit 36. A 0 fine, $75 crime victims' rights fee, and a $50 state minimum fee, 125 or 2 days. She's not, I'm not sure where she is, but she's not presently in a relationship with you. You've been in jail. You were under the influence of methamphetamine at this point, and you can't keep beating the crap out of the people that you're closest to. Yeah, you've had several previous assaults and several previous assaults on her. They don't deserve that.
Right.
You're going to spend the next 24 days minus good time in custody, pay $125 or do 2 additional days. Then you're going to be out. It'll get you out sometime in March. Maybe it won't be so cold, but you're going to need to find a place to go and a purpose. But at this point, you can go back to the jail and have lunch. I'm not going to put the resources into this that perhaps I'm not. It hasn't worked. So I may refer this to Lauren, see if she can get you plugged into something. But you're good to go, Mr. Masters. Thank you, Mr. Gibson. Mr. Ackerson, you were convicted of domestic assault by way of a plea, and you were placed on probation. Your probation officer, Matthew Huff, has filed a probation violation petition alleging that you violated your probation by continuing to use drugs and alcohol or refusing to test on demand. We had a arraignment on this in December. On the 17th, he pled not guilty. We set it for hearing today. The allegation, we haven't seen much of this, is that you continued to test positive for cocaine. And then a no-show. So this takes a while. That was in October. You otherwise were doing okay. Your probation officer's recommendation is that we continue the probation and you get a substance abuse assessment and do 2 weekends in jail. Mr. George, what's your client's position here?
He's prepared to admit the violation, Your Honor.
All right. I'm sorry it took so long. If I understand, this is very similar to a case they had this morning where someone was on probation for a domestic violence. Same sentence, 31 days, credit 1, 30 days deferred. He continued to test positive for alcohol. In fact, I don't think he ever stopped. And we had, I don't know, a bunch of alcohol. These were cocaine. He let the first couple slide, but they kept happening. And frankly, that was under our radar. We didn't understand that that was an issue. So, Mr. Ackerson, you do have a right to have a hearing on this where testimony must be taken to establish, at least beyond probable cause standard, that you violated your probation preponderance standard. You also can acknowledge the probation and then we'll figure out what to do. So let me repeat the petition that we talked about back in December. I think this might have been adjourned for a flood or something, but we ended up with today. The allegation is that you violated Article 8 of your probation by failing to abstain from the use of drugs or alcohol. What he's recommending would be to continue the probation and allow you to still get the deferral if we can get past the finish line. Do you understand?
Yes, sir, I do.
All right. And do you understand that by pleading to this, you'll be giving up the right to have a hearing on this? And I will accept your plea if it's given voluntarily, and then I'll decide what to do for the sentence. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right. In the summer and fall of last year, see if Matt is here yet. He was in Judge Patterson's courtroom. Were you using cocaine?
Yes, sorry.
When did you last use it?
Been probably a month or two ago, sir. I've
So-
been clean ever since, after our last meeting.
All right. So last use was in December of,
Yes.
how'd you stop?
To be honest, I need to grow up. I just stopped, sir.
Mr. Huff was in Mr. Judge Patterson's courtroom, but he's joined us now. Matthew, I advised the defendant of what the allegations were. He admitted with advice of Mr. George. You'd been watching this cocaine thing in the summer and fall, and we discussed it. It was under our radar. I didn't understand that that issue was out there. His contention is that he hasn't used since we were here in December and has stopped using. How's the testing been since then?
Testing records would back that up. He's been doing well.
Is your recommendation still 2 days in jail and continue the probation?
I think my initial recommendation was 4 days in jail, 2 weekends.
Yes, two weekends is what I meant.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much Mr. Akers has shared with you, but he's now gainfully employed at a pretty well to do job over at Waste Management. And I think he's lining a career up for himself there if he wants to take care of his family. So I think continued probation with a couple of weekends is appropriate.
He's not working in Kalamazoo anymore.
No.
All right. What are you doing at Waste Management?
I'm a driver, sir.
Good for you.
Thank you.
That pays well. Do you get a lot of overtime?
Yes. Yep. When I'm officially trained, I will be working 50 hours and at least 5 days a week.
All right. Mr. George, anything you want me to know?
I think, I was just looking back at the report, and I don't think there was anything that indicated this type of issue in the initial plea. If there is any silver lining, it's that this happened while he's still in the course of probation. We can get that issue addressed. I think Matt's recommendations appropriate under the circumstances. I went over that with my client. We'd ask the court to adopt.
Ms. Campfield, you got any thought on this?
Your Honor, this morning's was a little bit more egregious. Although still a substance, there were 9 positive tests there. And even after coming to court, really no attempt to stop drinking in that case. In this one, it appears the defendant has admitted that he used, admitted that he needed to grow up and stop using and did do so, which is verified by the further testing of Mr. Huff. So at this point, I do believe that imposing the 2 weekends of jail is appropriate sanction with continued probation. If there are any further positive tests, and there's another PV, I'd likely recommend revocation of the deferral. So I know that he's aware he's facing that, which would make employment difficult in the future if he were to have that as a condition.
How many sessions of the classes is he through? Excuse me.
He isn't, because of the nature of he was getting his truck driver's license. There's a schooling that goes through for that takes, I believe, and Mr. Akerson can correct me if I'm off on this, but I believe it takes about approximately 4 weeks. So
Well,
we
we have
needed to find out
some
his schedule.
So it is CDL. Well, let me ask you, Mr. Ackerson, how many weeks of classes have you been through?
I start next week, sir. It's been ongoing. They want me to go to Arizona for training. I told them couldn't leave the state because my daughter, the newborn. So now they said it was going to be in GR. So I was supposed to go to Arizona 2 weeks ago. I told them I couldn't leave the state.
All right. Well, you would have had to do a drug screen to get hired there, and you
Yep.
must have passed that.
Yes, sir.
All right. We've had some flexibility here, but I really want you to complete this. This program started last August. As soon as you get through with that, we could discharge you from the probation. All right, probation is continued. 4 days jail, credit 0, to be served on weekends. What's your shift time?
Between sometimes I start at 4 in the morning, sometimes I start at 5. And I usually am between 4 or 5 in the afternoon.
Well, we usually start the jail weekends at 7 p.m. on Friday night, and then you get out 7 p.m. Sunday night. So I'm going to start it at 7 p.m. this Friday night. Might as well get it over with.
Okay.
February 13, 2/20. The other conditions of your probation remain in effect. I would like to see you get the benefit of this deferral. You got a new child. You got a new job. You don't have time or money to spend on cocaine. All right. Thank you. Give that to him. Take that to the jail this Friday night at 7 o'clock. Your probation is continued. I'd like you to be successful in this. The guy this morning, I just pulled the pin and he went straight to jail and he lost his deferral. I'd like to see you come out the other side of this.
I agree, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, you're good to go.
And Your Honor, we did execute a waiver